It is Election Day. Polls open in 1 hour here. Thanks for joining us at 6 a.m., everyone. I'm Eric Connert.
And I'm Netta Iranpour. We are watching the race for the White House, which is one of the closest in modern U.S. history, as well as local issues on the ballot. So we have team coverage this morning. CBS 8's Chris Groh live at a supercenter in Chula Vista with how both sides of the aisle are preparing to challenge the election results.
But we begin with CBS 8's Regina Yarita live at the Registrar of Voters in Kearney Mesa with everything we need to know on this Election Day. Regina.
Yeah, good morning, Eric and Netta. It is Election Day, and that means in just an hour, all voting places will open for San Diego County registered voters. So just an hour, right? We are able to go into the register office. There are so many people who waited today to vote on Election Day. I know it's an exciting time to do so today, but others took advantage of California's early voting. In fact, we have the numbers of how many submitted their ballots either by mail or voting in person. So far here in San Diego County, more than 825,000 voters have mailed in their ballots, and another 48,000 early voters have cast their ballots in person. But if you've waited until Election Day, you're in good company too, because the Registrar of Voters says voter turnout here in San Diego County is expected to be 80 to 84% this presidential election. So thousands more will be voting today, including some who have not even registered yet. Those hoping to get registered today, you can complete a conditional voter registration form, also known as a CVR, at the Registrar of Voters or at any voting center countywide. Once completed, you'll be given a provisional ballot to fill out. That ballot is then sealed inside the CVR provisional envelope and turned in. Once officials verify your registration form and confirm you did not vote elsewhere, your vote will then be counted. Now, we did talk to the Registrar of Voters yesterday. They kind of gave us some insight and some updated numbers. Take a listen to what they told us about Election Day.
We've had observers actively observing in our offices since we started processing ballots into the count. We welcome observation here in our facility. They can see every step of the process.
And guys, this is also a presidential election. The president race is pretty close. And so we actually have a CBS 8 Chris Groh live talking about really legal challenges that both sides could file. Take a listen. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, good morning, Regina. It really is, again, one of those things where a lot of people think that today is sort of the final day, but really it's just the beginning of what decisions will be made both today and then moving forward, and not just at the ballot box, but also in terms of legal challenges.
If you're on the losing side, you want to do everything you can to try not to be on the losing side, because flipping, a small number of votes could be determinative.
Yeah, that's UC San Diego political science professor Seth Hill, who says that this is an extremely close election. Think back all the way to 2000, the hanging chads, and then, of course, in 2020, extremely close, a number of different legal challenges. That is something that we could see play out yet again, because in battleground states, just a small number of flipped votes could be decisive. According to Professor Hill, this is a situation where both sides will look for any type of irregularities or potential any rule breaking that could flip those votes. Now, things have gotten a little harder in terms of challenging votes. In fact, he mentioned the Electoral Count Reform Act, which was passed back in 2022, which raised the bar for challenging electoral votes, now requiring 1/5 of both the House and Senate, both chambers there of Congress, to object to election results. But he says that, look, there is going to be transparency when it comes to the voting process, when it comes to counting and tabulating votes, but there will still likely very well be challenges.
In order for election irregularities to actually change the result of an election, there's going to be a judge, and there's going to be evidence, and there's going to be attorneys on each side arguing it out. So we have a system in place to deal with any problems that arise.
And here's the thing, if it does go far enough, we could eventually see election results before the Supreme Court. Eric and Neto?
All right, Chris, thank you very much for that. And with Election Day finally being here, the race for the White House all comes down to this in one of the tightest presidential races in U.S. history.
It could all come down to 7 swing states to decide who will be the next president. CBS's Jared Hill is in Alexandria, Virginia, with what the candidates said in their final push.
An Election Day tradition, the tiny town of Dixville, Knox, New Hampshire, with the first results of the 2024 race. The 6 voters split between former President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris in what's proving to be a razor-thin election. In Grand Rapids, Michigan,
are you better off now than you were 4 years ago?
Trump, revisiting his final campaign stop from 2016 and 2020, had the last word with a late-night rally after stumping through North Carolina and Pennsylvania.
As your president, I will fight for you every single day with every breath in my body.
Are you ready to make your voices heard?
Harris went all in on Pennsylvania, closing out a multi-stop tour of the state with star-studded concert rallies in Pittsburgh, then from the base of the famous Rocky Steps at the Philadelphia Art Museum.
I pledge to always put country above party and self, and to be a president for all Americans.
Already more than 81 million Americans cast early ballots this election, with states like North Carolina and Georgia shattering records. But still, there are a lot of folks who say they want to cast their ballots today.
I want to do mine in person because I know it counts.
I'm old school, so I wanted to vote on the day of, as I normally do.
Trump is also expected to cast his ballot later today in Florida. Tonight, he and running mate J.D. Vance will watch the results come in at Mar-a-Lago. Harris and her running mate, Tim Walz, will be in Washington, D.C. at Harris's alma mater, Howard University. Jared Hill, CBS News, Alexandria, Virginia.
Meantime, former President Trump unveiled a new proposed tariff against Mexico in response to migrants entering the U.S. illegally.
They don't stop this onslaught of criminals and drugs coming into our country. I'm going to immediately impose a 25% tariff on everything they send in to the United States of America.
Trump also threatened the same tariff on China, which he says is sending fentanyl to Mexico.
We're going to have updated results from all races during a special live stream newscast on the CW and the CBS 8 Plus streaming channel. It all starts 7 tonight through when the polls close at 8 into 9:30. Download our free streaming app if you don't have it yet. It's on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire TV. And our morning show will have the very latest updates as those numbers come in overnight and throughout the day tomorrow.
Yeah, if you're feeling stressed out, put your vote in and then just decompress out at the beach.
Yeah,
maybe,
exactly.
Right?
It's a great time to do so. I mean, it's beautiful out there today. Through the rest of the week, sunshine each day.
It's perfect.
Rain is
out there.
gone. Remember the sunrises earlier?
Yeah.
So something to celebrate. Get out there and get your vote counted. We have a gorgeous live look outside from Hotel Del. Temperatures by the afternoon for your election day looking very nice. 72 out along the coastline. Inland valleys are going to be climbing to 76 degrees. Across the mountains, low 70s possible, otherwise upper 60s. Going for 71, though, and then 80 across the deserts. Keep in mind, though, overnight lows are cooler as you make your way east. Along the coast right now, we're mostly in the 50s. We're in the 40s across our inland valleys, and toward the mountains, we're in the upper 30s and low 40s out there. So you can see that on display here. Ramona at 37 degrees, a little bit warmer, actually, for some of those mountains. Campo aside, 38 degrees right now. Julian's at 51, Palomar Mountain at 50 degrees. Out along the coastline, mostly those upper 40s and low 50s. But here's the thing, no big change in that. But as we head through each day, we're going to have those highs come in just about the same pattern. So it looks like we're going to be moving toward day over day of sunshine and warmth. One thing we're going to be working with, though, is some wind. So as we get toward this afternoon, our wind speeds are going to be a bit breezy, but they're onshore. We're more concerned about that shift in wind direction. When those winds are offshore, those are going to be the dry Santa Ana winds that we do not like, and that is going to lead to high fire danger for us, low relative humidity. Wind gusts start to pick up early tomorrow morning, and then by tomorrow afternoon, you start to see that more dramatic increase in wind gusts, where Alpine, Julian, Campo, all spots could be at 40-plus miles per hour, even close to the coastline. It's pretty breezy out there. So Wednesday and Thursday, we've got some gusty offshore winds to contend with, but that'll also contribute to the dry trend that sticks around through the upcoming weekend. Let's take a look at how your roads are this morning. So far, it's been a quiet start to the morning commute out there. There is one crash that we can take you to this morning, but generally it's been very quiet out there. This is what we have on our traffic maps here. We have that one crash that is up in the Rancho Bernardo area. It's the 15, right-hand shoulder of the 15, and slow lane blocked right now with 15 southbound before the 56 freeway, it looks like. Let's take a look at your border wait times right now. It's a 105-minute wait at the San Ysidro Port of Entry. Otay Mesa Port of Entry going to take you about 60 minutes in total. Back to you.